Adaptions of beloved IPs are everywhere nowadays. Games have remakes and remasters being made as we speak. I don't hate remakes or anything. Adaptions of beloved IPs are bound to happen just to adapt to an audience that hasn't seen them in such a long time. However, many bad adaptations have fallen straight on their ass, failed to capture the splendor of the originals, and failed to make them popular for all the right reasons. Key point: The Witcher. Recent reimaginings of Disney IPs like The Little Mermaid and soon Snow White. These adaptations are made not with the intent to adapt the source material as honest as possible, but adapt them with the notion that they can change whatever they want. These changes seem to disregard fans and disrespect the characters and the original version of these properties, and this just sets them up for failure. However, change can be good. It can respect the IP and make everyone happy with the changes made. Well, for the most part, this is the case for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a reimagining of the tale of four turtles who got hit with some special ooze, and a rat who also touched the ooze, who takes care of them, and they all learn martial arts, and it just tells their story. In my honest opinion, this movie is a great movie. It's great. I love the story. I love the energy brought into it. The voice acting was absolutely solid, and the animation is just beautiful. It fits the theme of what you would think a more modern Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like movie series, whatever, would be. It's amazing. One of my favorite aspects of the movie is that it feels like it isn't trying to pull any punches for a sequel. Everything felt like they had a place, and like nothing was held back, honestly. For any who are concerned about April and her quote-unquote change, honestly, it really doesn't matter. Just like before, she's just a side character. She adds to the story and makes it much more interesting just by helping the turtles. And she, in this reiteration, and just like I feel like in other iterations, she is just the bridge for the turtles to come to the human world. The turtles are insanely interested in the outside world. This version of the turtles story has them around the time where there's TikTok, YouTube, and tech. That's basically how it is nowadays, right? They are obsessed with the outside world. This is like a contrast to how they were in the 2003 Ninja Turtle show. In the 2003 show, they didn't have media like TikTok or YouTube, but they had their own hobbies that are tailored to their own personalities. Like Donatello was always tinkering with things, Monkey was always playing games and just having fun, Leonardo was always serious and always honing his skills, while Raph was always working out, getting into vigilantism on the street and training as well. This movie shows us kids being kids. The chemistry between the turtles is what draws you into the movie and draws you into believing that they are brothers. They act like brothers, they talk shit to each other like brothers, press each other's buttons like brothers, and overall act like a family along with their father, Splinter. Now, I will be entering spoiler territory, so if you haven't watched the movie, I honestly suggest you check it out. For my rating on it, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I deducted a point due to a specific plot point or a part of the movie that I didn't really like, mainly because of how they handled it. It didn't feel natural to me that the event that happened would go out like that. But towards the end of the video, you'll know if you'll know what I'm talking about. But thank you so much for watching, and if you want to go ahead and watch the rest of the video and get into the spoiler part, here's my review. The movie basically opens up with a scientist who has been working on this special ooze that can mutate animals. He didn't want to give it to his employer because he didn't want the mutants to be used and, you know, not have a family like him. I thought this aspect of the beginning was pretty nice as like a great motivation and like, you know, a lore aspect of the ooze, as most of the time we get a situation where the ooze is just mishandled and just goes down the pipes or whatever, goes down the sewer, and they just happen to just smack a bunch of turtles on the head and just mutate them. Because of this, the employer sends soldiers to his home to acquire the ooze. However, one of the mutants goes ahead and tries to fight them back. However, a big explosion kills the scientist. One of his creations tries to fight back, but, you know, says, screw this, and grabs a whole bunch of vials of subjects, and the ooze, the perfect ooze, goes ahead and falls down the pipe, while the soldiers were just trying to figure out, like, you know, what to take. This was a strong opening to a Ninja Turtles movie. Blatant death. I was just so surprised, but hey, it made the severity of the situation that serious. I like how throughout the movie, danger was a real thing, mainly towards the latter half of the movie. Anyways, after this, we get a funny scene where the guys are extra serious, mainly because of Leo. They're made to look like the 2003 versions of themselves, but quickly devolve into them just being themselves. Funny, awkward teens on a grocery errand for their dad. After getting the groceries in ninja fashion, they talk about what they could do for the night. Leo is honestly still strict as ever in this version of himself, and is all about the rules. But the others go ahead and want to watch a movie. As they watch the movie later on, Leo and the rest of them look at the people down watching the movie just together in society, and they're envious of them. It's an interesting thing that they added an element of envy towards the humans, not only them, but to their culture and wanting to be normal, because they're awkward teens who are just shut-ins with their dad, and they're so like into the human world. They just feel like they just want more. They want more. They want to be accepted by everybody. And I think that's genuinely normal for like people their age. After the movie, they come home. After being confronted by Splinter, Leo like lets it slip that they watched the movie in public, albeit they were on top of a building just watching it. But this still makes Splinter upset, who tells him his years of taking care of them, which is like an excuse to show us like, the origins of the Turtles and Splinter. And I'm not gonna lie, Splinter telling us this, he's just an ugly ass rat. Like when he was just a normal rat, he was just ugly as shit. It was really funny. It did make me wonder how they're gonna connect the Foot Clan and Shredder, but that's for later on, right? So he basically explains that after touching the ooze, he got smarter, bigger, and took care of them. After he discovered them in the sewer, covered in the ooze. After seeing the boys interested in the human world, he takes them out to to go look at Times Square, which I'm pretty sure is Times Square. And yeah, people immediately saw who they are and tried to murder them. And I'm like, oh damn. And it was kind of funny the way he was like moving around, but it was a serious moment that shows that Splinter just wants to take care of his kids and doesn't want a situation like that to ever happen again. This event was the main motivation for Splinter to keep the boys away from the outside world, but he knows, as well as they know, they need to go into the outside world to survive, to get like food, water, all the bunch of resources you need to survive. So with the help of a Kung Fu VHS tape, they all learned how to fight. I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was pretty creative to get the skills they need to be ninjas. But I did prefer the angle where Master Splinter like taught them everything he knew from watching and learning from his owner, who was a master himself. After the origin story was told, they were grounded. Splinter grounded their ass for like a month, I think, like a month if I remember correctly. The movie turns our attention towards a thief called Superfly, who has been stealing tech from the same company that sent soldiers to that scientist's house in the beginning of the movie. This movie weaves a lot of plot threads together nicely, as everything does come together, and honestly nothing felt left out or mishandled towards the end of the movie. After getting off punishment for the month, the boys went out for the night and just did little fun things, fun little tricks and stuff on a roof. But, after playing with the ninja star, it accidentally gets embedded in somebody's head. They go out and check, and it's April with a helmet with the ninja star, and she's pretty fucking pissed about the star. As she yells at the boys, even though she can't really see them from where she is at the bottom on the street, someone steals her moped. Leo, with a big ass crush on her, we see him going ahead and like romanticizing her features and everything. It was pretty funny. He plans to go ahead and get the moped for her, and the others follow him. This whole situation was honestly pretty hilarious, because not only does Donatello, Raph, and Maki already know why he's doing this, they proceed to throw it in his face and make jokes about it, like how brothers would do. They follow the thief over to an auto store, I'm pretty sure, and this ends up being their very first fight against real people. Obviously, they kicked their ass, but they clearly, were new at this. They were new at fighting, but it was honestly still a great scene, great with all the animation. It was just lovely. It was just a lovely, little introductory fight. April somehow goes ahead and finds the auto shop where her moped was stolen and brought to, and she meets the Turtles. She was surprised, but wasn't trying to kill them or anything. She ends up learning about them and how they were made, and actually became friends with them. This leads them to making a plan for how others can accept them by finding Superfly and turning him in. The five of them agree on this plan, and April already has a few leads. Going to her high school, they end up learning more about her and why she became viral online. I'm not gonna lie, not gonna spoil that. You gotta watch the movie or find it on YouTube or something. Besides that, them being together and had April joining on the roast, especially about last names, it was great. It adds to the energy, it adds to the vibe. It's just kids being kids, because they are kids. April works together with the Turtles after this, following leads on Superfly. When they discover a guy who has been paying people to basically steal for Superfly, and they get word of the next item that Superfly plans to steal. But they get called by Splinter to come to the sewer, and it's Splinter trying to go ahead and appeal to them like, hey, we can bring the outside world to the sewer. This adds to his reclusiveness, his seclusiveness of how he just wants to go ahead and stay in the sewer and not really rely on humans, but he knows he can't do that. This aspect of Splinter has always been there in various versions of him. It's just here, it's just more in your face, like that he's a shut-in. He has no interest in the human world, and it just portrayed differently each time. And here is just more in your face. After finding the part that Superfly wants to steal, some cars roll up after they hide in the vehicle to try and jump Superfly. And in the car, some mutants just jump out. This surprises everybody, the boys and April. Then Superfly comes over and just rips the car in half and just sees them, and it's like, oh shit, they're like man-sized turtles. And then after realizing they're all mutants, Superfly lays out the whole idea of the whole basics of the origin, how they became mutants, which the turtles confirm. Everyone gets introduced and later hangs out at like a bowling alley. I'm pretty sure a bowling alley slash like arcade like building, right? Superfly then lays out his plan to basically overthrow humans and make mutants the top species, which is, I mean, yeah, sure, it makes sense, I guess, with everything that he's that he's been through, and the way the movie just set up. This freaks out the boys, but they play along until they purposely crash the vehicle with the part inside, and they try to escape with it. Superfly and his crew of mutants give chase, and Superfly honestly catches up to them so fast it beats the shit out of them. The funniest part here was that Donatello's comment while he's getting beat up. He's like, he's mollywopping me. He's mollywopping me. That shit cracked me the fuck up. I was dying. And it was honestly just one of the funniest parts of the movie for me personally. After trying to take back the machine and, being left with the tracker, soldiers from the company take the boys and they started to kill them slowly by taking their blood for the mutagen and essentially, in their fears, milking them to continue on with the experiments they've tried years ago. April gets Splinter and he goes off, and badass enough, he saves the boys. It's a pretty cool ass fight scene where he's fighting multiple people, multiple soldiers, and yeah, it shows that Splinter being old, he's old, but he still can kick ass. Throughout this movie, April is like the ultimate side character. She is helpful and doesn't get in the way of things when shit gets too crazy. It's nice, she stays in her lane. The boys then get scolded and was given an "I told you so" by Splinter about getting milked, which was hilarious because it was like an inside joke for like the entire movie here. And they all just decide, hey, let's just at least just take down Superfly. They reach Superfly's home that they found out where it was due to the mutants, talking about it, and they get surrounded easily by Superfly and his mutants, his family of mutants. However, there has been a lot of anime influences, especially by Donatello. So I guess the boys watched Naruto too, along with Attack on Titan, because they somehow acquired Talk no Jutsu. If you don't know what Talk no Jutsu means or is, it's when Naruto goes ahead and levels with an antagonist, and they both bond over similar pain, and they talk about their feelings, and it's basically saying, I know how you feel, but this ain't it, bro, type of speech, right? And here, they talk to the family of Superfly into not wanting to destroy the human world. This doesn't work on Superfly, though, because he doesn't give a fuck about any of that. So Talk no Jutsu fails on him, but everyone else, it was like a nat 20. It was like, instantly, yeah, we don't want to do this. This is where the movie had me hooked. Superfly was honestly whooping the shit out of everybody, even throwing around his rhino friend, his rhino loved one around like it was nothing. It was honestly crazy. He was beating the crap out of them. Only after all their efforts, they destroyed the machine. But Superfly did also fall in the water when the big explosion of the mutagen energy happened. So I'm sitting there like, wait, hold up. This movie still has a good amount of minutes left. What's going on here? Then Superfly comes out on some kaiju shit, fused together with a bunch of animals, like even horses and shit, which confused me because I'm sitting here like, was there horses in the building, or what's going on? I wasn't paying that much attention. I was focused on the action. So he just decides, all right, cool. I'm on this big kaiju shit. I'm just gonna go ahead and destroy New York. Fuck it, right? And everyone's just sitting there looking at the whole situation like, what the fuck do we do? What the fuck do we do now? But after a big speech by Splinter and with the help of April, who took a demutant gun apparently from the company that abducted the turtles. They went out to go ahead and fight apparently with Super Duper Fly now because he renamed himself. Honestly, the next scene could be summarized in how the group essentially is defeated by Super Duper Fly, and the turtles are defeated. And Splinter tried to get the demutant ooze that they got from the gun from the company that tried to milk the turtles to his boys, but he gets smacked away. Then there's a nice little scene where the humans help him up, and they all decide together that they need to go ahead and get that ooze to the turtles because apparently they sat there like, all right, cool, we gotta help defeat this big old fly monster that's destroying our city. It was honestly a great moment seeing the humans and the mutants band together to go ahead and stop Super Duper Fly. After defeating Super Duper Fly, when Leo goes ahead and throws the ooze inside his blowhole and returning all the animals he's fused with along with him back to normal, everyone began praising the turtles, for saving New York. The mutants, they talk no jutsu, essentially at the very end, because this is the very end of the movie, started living with them. And it was honestly pretty nice, pretty wholesome. And apparently Splinter fell in love with one of them. And honestly, it's the end of the movie. I stopped caring. They're animals. Who cares? It's whatever, right? Also, big surprise to me. It was crazy. It was crazy when I saw they are going to school now. It was like their first day of school at the end of the movie. The movie ends with the turtles going to school and beginning a normal life of sorts, and that's it. That's it. That's the entire movie, and it was just honestly really lovely, really really amazing. This movie was honestly spectacular. The energy, the plot, the characters, everyone had personality, and everything felt respectful towards the IP. Like I said before, my rating is a 9. The only reason it isn't a 10 was the Talk No Jutsu flipping on Superfly type of thing by his family. Like it was like a Nat 20 moment in D&D type of thing. This threw me off as the parallels between Splinter and Superfly were obvious, but the family dynamic maybe wasn't the same for them. Superfly was obviously taking care of them for a reason. He cared about them, but maybe they didn't go ahead and express it enough that how they feel against him, how he was before is different than he was now. Maybe there wasn't enough time to flesh out this family dynamic at the end, but who cares, whatever. It's not really a big deal. It just bothered me a little bit how they flipped on him so fast, but whatever, right? It's still a great movie. Now, normally I'd end the video here and just say the usual, but I want to put together possible ideas for the sequel. One idea focuses on the more personal aspects movies like this puts light on. Similar to how in Spider-Verse Miles has a personal situation going on with his parents and their trust in him, in the next movie their interest in the human world led them to more opportunities to develop themselves independently as their own person. Just like how I explained how each turtle has their own hobby tailored to their personality, they would drift apart because of the differences which would strain their family dynamic as brothers. I think in the next movie, development in themselves as people should show. Just like their earlier iterations, their hobbies would help branch them out in what they can do for themselves and the plot. Hell, I'd love to see Casey here while Raph is out being a vigilante. He is a dropout who lives in a bad neighborhood who wants to take down criminals that made his life hard. Some angle can be put to where he was our bridge into the whole Foot Clan dilemma, like how April was our bridge into the whole human world. An idea for Casey could be that he could be training to fight head-on against the Foot Clan for murdering his parents who were going to whistleblow certain operations that were unethical. The company involved sent the Foot Clan or Shredder due to the delicacy of the situation. Seeing his family being taken down just for doing the right thing in their eyes would spur Casey onto a path of revenge. The next movie seems like Shredder's gonna come in. Shredder is iconic. I can't wait to see him fight the turtles and honestly beat their ass. Because I guess for some reason, like one of my favorite parts is when the villains beat the shit out the turtles. Is that weird? Is that weird? Like I said before, Casey could be our bridge into the whole Foot Clan and Shredder dilemma. Shredder could be after the Turtles, which I know he is because the the company wants Shredder to come over to deal with the Turtles, and Casey would tell them about him and tell them why they're trying to kill them and the other mutants. Just like how they wove the narrative to connect everything together, they can do it here in the next movie. But albeit, slightly bigger, it would be nice to fit in the events of the first movie to be just a small piece in the company's overall plan to take over the world. I'd love to see these characters develop more into their unique selves while living in the human world. Maybe because of this, they grow apart because their interests don't align anymore, but they're still brothers. They still love each other. This dynamic in the movie that can be a bit of an internal struggle between the turtles with the right angle can make for a great story element. Alright, that's it for me. That's no more ideas for me for today. This is it for the video. Thank you all for watching. Stay healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically, and see you guys later. Goodbye.